Hey guys, and welcome back to another video where today I will once again be continuing my NFL 2020 to 2021 season predictions. I did the AFC North, NFC North, and AFC South. If you want to check those out, those will be in the description below. But today, we're going to be focusing on the NFC South. But before I get into the video, I need to say a few things. First of all, I've been very surprised with the view count over the last week. I have gained over 50 views over that amount of time, which for many people probably really isn't that much, isn't that impressive, but to me it's amazing that I even really got that many views in that span of time, so that's great. As always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like down below. You can subscribe if you want to, but it is up to you. But also, let's continue with that thought of subscribing. A lot of the people that viewed my channel during those few days are not subscribed to me. I would really appreciate it if you want to see more of my content that you subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell to be notified of my uploads. But, of course, if you don't like my content or you just don't really care to subscribe, it is always up to you and it is not, of course, required. Now, after saying that, let's get right into what you came here for, predicting the NFC South. Now, so far through my predictions, they are doing pretty well so far. Falcons at 4-0, Saints also at 4-0, Buccaneers 3-1, Panthers 2-2. Falcons a team that I see being a middling team that might be able to squeak into the playoffs, but I'm not exactly sure that they will. The Saints are a team that I think is primed to win this division, but it will be a tough battle between them and the Buccaneers. While I do believe the Buccaneers are pretty overhyped, in my opinion, their schedule actually favors them quite well. So I think that could definitely have an effect on the division rankings. And then there's the Panthers. The Panthers are really my team where I kind of did my worst case scenario, best case scenario thing with them. And I'm not sure if that'll stand now. My opinion may have changed from now to when I did that. But I had them at their worst going 3-13, and at best going 10-6. So they're really a wild card team that could really end up anywhere at all. But we're going to start out today's video predicting the Falcons. So, the Falcons' schedule looks very interesting. Lots of teams that could put up a very good game against the Falcons, starting out week 1 against the Seahawks. I think Russell Wilson will probably put up a pretty good show against the Falcons, and their defense is pretty good. I think the Seahawks will win in week 1. Week 2, Falcons traveling over to play against the Cowboys. This game's definitely going to be interesting. I think it'll be a pretty well-scoring game, but I think the Falcons will drop this one to the Cowboys. Starting out the year at 0-2, of course, they've got tons of wins later on. Next game that we will do is all the way down at week 5, which is really only a 2-3 week skip, where they are at home against the Panthers. The Panthers, again, a big wild card team, but I think at home, Falcons will take it, and then a few weeks later, the Panthers will take it on Thursday night. Week 9, Broncos coming off their bye week. I think the Broncos have potential to be a pretty good team, and I'm a little higher on the Falcons than other people are, but I still think the Broncos get the win here. The next game, the Falcons coming off their bye week play against the Saints. While I think the Falcons are a very good team, not exactly sure how I would have them stacking up against the Saints. However, here in Week 11, coming off of their bye week, I think they will be able to get the win. In Week 12, they play against the Raiders. The Raiders, they're not one of the best teams, but they're not terrible. I mean, the Falcons have underwhelmed a lot recently. And I think the Raiders could be a little bit impressive this year, so I think they'll pick up a win here against the Falcons. Next week, Saints-Falcons once again, this time in Atlanta, but I think the Saints will actually come out on top in this one. Revenge for the game 2 weeks before. Falcons travel to play the Chargers. The Chargers' defense actually looks pretty good this year. I'm not exactly sure how good Tyrod Taylor will fit in with that offense, but I think you'll be good enough there to get this win over the Falcons. Week 15, Buccaneers-Falcons. This game's going to be very good, and I think it's going to be very entertaining, but I think this one the Buccaneers will win. So week 16, the Falcons play the Chiefs. This game is going to be pretty interesting. I think it'll be 20-something to 30-something in a win for the Chiefs. Sitting at 6-9, not great. Definitely not showing as great promise as they had at the beginning of the year. And they pick it up a little bit. I think they'll beat the Buccaneers here in the final week in week 17. So finishing out the year 7-9 is about what I'd expect for the Falcons. I've seen people have them at 6-10, 5-11. I've had people have them up higher and doing a little bit better. Who really knows? We don't even know if there's really going to be a season. We'll have to find out. But as of right now, that's where I have the Falcons. So now let's move on to the Saints. Buccaneers Saints week 1. This will be a very fun and interesting game. It's going to be a tough game between the two teams. And I think it's going to be kicking off right away anyway with a Saints win. If this was later in the year, maybe it would be a little bit more of a competition, a little bit more of a toss-up game. But I think right away, Tom Brady's still going to need to definitely adjust to the Buccaneers. And that will damage their offense some. Week 2, Saints-Raiders, Monday Night Football. Saints-Raiders is going to be a very interesting game. I think the Raiders could be a pretty good team this year. I think right now, I have them winning all of their games that I've predicted so far. But I think that'll continue here in this game against the Saints. Leaving the Saints off at 6-2 so far, so still not that bad. Heading into week 5, Chargers-Saints, Monday Night Football. That will be a pretty interesting game, but I think the Saints will come out on top there. Week 7, Panthers-Saints. Saints coming off of their bye week at home against a team that I really don't know what they're going to do. Pick up that win. Now going on to week 9, I think by this point the Buccaneers might have picked up a little bit, want revenge. Sunday Night Football for Tom Brady. He'll come out on top there. Week 12, Saints-Broncos. This game. I think this game will be more interesting than some other people might think. I think this game will be very interesting, and a lot of people are very high on the Broncos this year. I think the Broncos have potential, but I don't think they're going to win this game. Week 14, they travel to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. I think that this game could really go either way. I think it'll be more interesting and entertaining than other people would think. Other people would probably just think that the Eagles wouldn't do that great in this game. But I think they'll actually come out with a win here, an upset win over the Saints ahead of their game against the Chiefs, which I also have them losing. Going on a bit of a losing streak after winning 2 games, moving them down to 9-5. But will they go? They could still win a few games. Also, I believe I skipped a game. I did. Week 10, 49ers Saints down here. Didn't really see that there. I think this game will definitely be very interesting. I could really have it going either way, but I think the 49ers win it. I have the 49ers in my mind as they're a more complete team. I think they're a much more complete team that can really compete in any game. So they're going to get this win over the Saints. Week 17, the Saints will pick up another win against the Panthers to sweep them, leaving them at 10-6. First place for now with the Buccaneers and the Panthers to predict. Next team is the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers' schedule looks very strange here because their name being so long and their logo, trying to fit that into boxes, it goes all the way down here. It's very distracting to me when I try to predict it, but let's not let that get in the way of this video, which it already has, but let's move on. Week 2, Panthers-Buccaneers. I think this will be a fun game to watch, especially early on, and I think early on the Panthers will be able to beat the Buccaneers, as they won't be as great as they might be later in the year. Week 3, Buccaneers-Broncos. I really have this as a little bit of a toss-up game. I think the Broncos could impress this year. But here in Week 3, I think the Buccaneers might start to pick things up a little bit, and they'll get a win here. Going into the game against the Chargers, I could really see this going either way. The Chargers' defense, I think, might be able to play pretty well against the Buccaneers' offense. And their offense against the Buccaneers' defense, I think that could go pretty well for them. So I'll have the Chargers winning this one here. Week 7, Buccaneers-Raiders. Again, the Raiders, a team that I see doing pretty well this year, but here I think the Buccaneers continue to go on a pretty good picking it up type time period here, so they'll get this win here, as well as the win Monday night against the Giants. As I mean, the Giants aren't the worst team ever, but I really don't see them picking up a win here against the Buccaneers, which are a team that many people hyped up so much recently. Week 10, I think the Buccaneers losing to the Panthers last time, traveling over there, 3-win streak. I still think that this game will be very, very close, but I think I'm going to have to give it in the end to the Panthers. It's going to be a tough-fought game, very fun game to watch, but it could really go either way, and I see it going to the Panthers this time. Rams-Buccaneers is a game that I really don't know what to do with it. First of all, the new Rams logo, I don't know if I brought this up before. I don't believe that I have. Their logo is just absolutely hideous. I hate it so much. Everyone hates it so much. Their alternate logo that I saw with the actual ram with the yellow horns, that looked pretty cool. I kind of like that one, but I don't like this one. Of course, that has nothing to do with the predictions, but I still have the Buccaneers winning this one. I think they're a more impressive team, and that they will win this one. So sitting at 9-6, not going to come at first in the division, but a possibility to go 10-6 and tie the record with the Saints. And I don't think that they'll be able to achieve that. I think the Chiefs will beat them here in Week 12, leaving them at 9-7. So I realize that my records for many of these teams, after the AFC North, for the NFC North, AFC South, my records have been kind of underwhelming. And that's just the way that I predicted them right now. Like, for example, before I recorded this video, I just do a quick one. I don't really put much thought into it about how the game would feel to me, how the game would look. I just do it. Had the Saints at 12-4, had the Buccaneers at 11-5, had the Falcons still at 7-9, and I think I had the Panthers at 3 and no, not at 3-13. I think I had them at 6-10. But as you can see here, it does look quite a bit different, at least for the Saints and Buccaneers. They dropped a lot more games than I had them dropping before. That just shows that when you actually put thought into things, maybe they could be a little more underwhelming than you expected. Of course, it could be a lot more interesting than I have here, but who knows. Anyway, final team in the division, the Panthers. This a schedule that does not look nearly as hideous as that Buccaneers schedule just did, but Week 1 against the Raiders. Two teams that I feel are somewhat similarly built offensively. Not exactly sure about defensively, but I think this will be a pretty interesting game. And I think that Teddy Bridgewater will start out the year with a win. Week 3, they play against the Chargers. Again, the Chargers defense looks really good. Christian McCaffrey might be able to do a little bit against them, but I think the Chargers will pick up this win. Week 4, Cardinals-Panthers. I think this game could really go either way. I think the Cardinals could actually be pretty good this year, but still have them dropping one to the Panthers here in a pretty, I think, medium-scoring game in the 20s for both teams. Week 9, Panthers-Chiefs. I know I said the Panthers are my wild card team in this division and that they could really do anything, but I really can't see them beating the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the Super Bowl champions. Seeing them drop a loss to the Panthers at home really wouldn't make any sense. It brings the Panthers to 7-7. Not terrible, not great. You know what? I did just remember I had the Panthers at 7-9 before doing this. And from what I see, that might follow suit, but I'm not sure. Coming off the bye week, playing against the Broncos, I think that even though the Broncos have potential at home, I think the Panthers will be able to pick this one up, moving them to 8-7. And I still think they will drop this one to the Redskins. It'll be more of a lower scoring game. And that's how I feel the season's going to go for the Panthers. So they go 8-8. Saints at 10-6. Buccaneers 9-7. Panthers 8-8. Falcons 7-9 is how I see this division going, leaving the Saints on top and the Buccaneers at the current moment in a wild card position. How that changes the rest of it, well, we've got the Vikings at the top of their division. Bears not going to make the playoffs as of right now, but we'll see how that fleshes out as we do more divisions. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As I said earlier, drop a like if you did. You can subscribe if you want to, but it is all up to you. Next week on Monday, I will be predicting the AFC East, my personal favorite team's division, and on Thursday, I will be predicting the NFC East. So I will see you guys next time. Have fun, and goodbye.